I mean, they haven't had a chance to meet me yet. And so I look at this as an opportunity is let me showcase to you. Let me show you, not just tell you. I think we go, we're going to market your property. We're going to do professional photos. We're going to do, and we just talk all this. But when we can start actually putting things in front of them, visually, tactically, they really start to believe you.
Hi, I'm Noelle with Today's Brew, where top producing real estate agents share their tips and tricks on taking more listings, making more money, and having fun doing it. On today's episode, we welcome Sandee Payne. Sandee, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Tell us a little bit about the area that you are from.
Yeah, so my primary area is here in Central Texas, mostly around the Fort Cavazos military base. So the little cities that are kind of right here would be Killeen, Harker Heights, Temple, Belton are kind of like the main ones that most people recognize.
Okay. All right, perfect. What is the average price point on a home there?
Oh, we're looking at about $250,000 right now.
Okay. And how many homes are you selling a year?
Always aiming for 100. So anywhere usually between 75 and 85 on average.
Man, that is amazing. That is absolutely incredible. When did you get into real estate?
I have been in real estate for just a little over 10 years now in the same market.
Okay. Are you on a team or are you doing all these numbers all by yourself?
I actually have a team. I'm the team lead, but those are typically my numbers. And then the team just adds from there.
That's amazing. Good job,
Thank
Sam.
you. Thank you.
Well, let's talk a little bit. You mentioned on always trying to get to 100. So you have a Facebook group. Tell us a little about it. Hustle to 100.
Yeah, so I started a private Facebook group a couple years ago. I had been given the opportunity to be on stage with Tom Ferry at his Success Summit. And during that time on stage, we were talking about listing attraction strategies, kind of what are the things we're doing to get the phone to ring in the first place. And at that time, I was presented a $10,000 challenge from Tom Ferry to list 100 homes in a 10-month period. So basically one summit event to the next year's summit event. Well, of course, my hand shot out. I shook his hand and I thought, what the heck? This is insane. What am I doing? Right?
What am I doing?
But then I had like this moment of like, I could do this. Like he's not going to challenge me with something I can't, that isn't attainable. Right. Mm-hmm. And so lo and behold, I got home, processed all the information, figured out a game plan, and really had to start getting really strategic on my different lead generation pillars, timelines, where they were in the funnel, follow-up processes. And I'm happy to say that I was able to stand on stage, have taken 103 listings in a 10-month period. And I collected a very big, one of those oversized large checks. You know, I was like, it was kind of the, America's Got Talent moment. It felt like,
that's got to be definitely your top 5 moments of your life, I'm sure.
Probably top 5. So, obviously, when you do something like that, you have a million people who are just saying like, well, how did you do it? Yep. Really hard to answer that question in, a 30-second elevator pitch. It was a lot of work and it took an entire year of a lot of discipline. And so what I decided was that I was going to start a Facebook group called the Hustle to 100. It's a free Facebook group to real estate agents wherever you are, and really just breaking down monthly, like different lead gen topics and strategies. We have live calls. We have guests that come in and share their best practices. And it's really quite transparent about any marketing material, follow-up plans. We just kind of collaborate and share. We've got well over 4,000 agents who are part of this group in just a couple years. So we're always welcome to anyone else who's looking to up their game.
How inspiring. So everyone should take advantage. Everyone watching this today should take advantage of Hustle to 100. So, okay, how many years ago was it that Tom Ferry put you up on stage and did that?
It was a little over 2 years ago.
Okay, and that's the first time you hit 100?
That was the first time I took 100 listings. Yeah. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Thank you. It was a lot of work, but I think the most important thing to me is, sometimes we go to conferences and we're on these masterminds and we hear of all these people, in these great price points, closing hundreds of deals. They've got these mega teams, and then there's a lot of us that just sit in our home office or our own cubby, our own office on a daily basis, working our butts off. And I really took it as a moment to kind of speak to that person, speak to the person like me, and be able to say, like, look, we all have the tools. The resources are out there. Now we just have to structure our day and our business plan to accomplish such a goal. And if I can do it, you can do it. So that's kind of the whole preface of it.
Let's talk about those tools and resources. So obviously you're in coaching.
Yes.
And how vital is that to your business or any real estate agent's business? It's pretty much a must.
Yeah, I would say it's a must. We're all with brokerages. We all have leadership to go to, but we have to take this business as a business, not just a hobby, closing a couple deals. And if that's what you want to do, awesome. But there are a lot of us who kind of aren't that business savvy or didn't have any type of business plan, finances, all of that. And that's where a coach really comes in to be able to sit down one-on-one with you, talk about you, your business, your expectations, and really dial into what's going to make your business the most successful for you. And that's really what the coaching does.
Absolutely. And then let's talk about a little bit about prospecting in your daily schedule.
Yes. So I definitely learned a lot. I thought I was like master prospector until my hand was on the fire. And I thought I'm maybe not as good, or I'm not as consistent or disciplined. Like, I think that's the biggest thing in this business where we're all kind of running. We call it squirrely, like there's things, everything's happening around us. And the most important fundamentals of our business often get put on the back burner. And so time blocking is really crucial. And frankly, as non-negotiable as you can make it. I front load my day. So typically my beginning of the day starts about 8:30, 8 sometimes if I feel like I have a little bit more to catch up on. And I basically am in my zone of working on my business until about 1 o'clock. That's where everything is time blocked from, working expireds and withdrawals to follow-up calls to transaction information to, anything, planning open houses, working on marketing, anything that's going to work on my business. And then that way my afternoon is a little more open to have fun with social media, go visit clients, do what I need to do, maybe a little bit more outside of the office. So really figuring out that schedule, which works for you. I recommend that people start kind of just journal your day, pay attention to what you're doing all day long. And then if you realize like 4 times in the day you're doing follow-up, can you consolidate that into a more structured time that's uninterrupted? And I feel like when we kind of compact that time and make it a very intentional section of time to focus very specifically on a certain task, we're going to be way more productive. Absolutely. I mean, it's like crash coursing for a test in college, right? I mean, you study, you do your homework, but we all tend to work better when you're like, okay, I've got 1 hour to really, it's just amazing what our mind under pressure. And that kind of works the same way. Like, I know I have 30 minutes, so I'm going to just, knock out whatever needs to be done and get it taken care of.
Okay. No, the time blocking I hear about all the time, and I think it's a tool that I could probably use better.
Yes.
Like you said, the mornings, definitely. If you don't get it done in the morning, you have 9,000 excuses in the afternoon.
That's right.
To get it finished. Now let's talk. I want to dig a little bit deeper on the prospecting. So you mentioned expireds. Are you calling this? Where do you get your information from? Who do you use?
Yeah. Well, I've tried several. And I think there's a lot of great systems out there, great software out there, but I think you need to dial into which one's going to give you the best information for your specific needs in your area. So currently, obviously, right now, I do use Espresso Agent. We have been for a while. Yeah. It's really for us the most comprehensive. We find the numbers in our market seem to be the best. Email addresses seem to be good. The data seems to be really accurate. So
we love to hear that.
Yeah, when you start with a software that has good data, your results and your return are obviously going to be better.
Absolutely. So when you're sitting down and making your calls, how long are you calling for every day? And how many contacts is it taking you to get an appointment? I had to do these numbers for my coach just this week for my call. So I was like, oh, I need to do better. It teaches you like, oh, okay, maybe you don't track your numbers well enough,
Oh, right.
which is what it taught me.
Oh, of course. I mean, KPIs are everything, not just to know what you're doing, but I mean, just for your future business plan to know what your workload's going to look like. I start in the morning. I spend about an hour. The first thing I don't do is call. I have a little bit of a weird strategy. I've been doing this for a while, and I've kind of really dialed in what works for me. Typically in the morning, most people are getting to work, getting their kids situated. And I just didn't find that people were answering. We have to remember that like, they don't know our number. And if we're calling, there's probably other agents calling, and it's really hard for them. Maybe they've picked up one call and they realize what it's going to be, and they just kind of ignore for the rest of the day. But I do tackle that time with, cross-checking the information. So I usually have a split screen, Espresso open on one, MLS open on the other that has, tax records. And so I always want to make sure that the data that I'm getting learn a little bit, right?
Yeah, I do the same thing, but I don't hear many people that do that. They seem to do it after they go back and say, oh, do I want this appointment? But I do it the same way you do it. I'm the exact same.
Yeah. I mean, the dialer's great. I mean, if that's your speed, but my success has been found in due diligence in the research, learn about the property, go through the pictures. What can you identify? How many days on market? It takes a little time. So it's not like getting through 100 of them in an hour. Like maybe I really collectively get through 10 really good informative pieces. So that when I do get someone on the phone, I can speak really valuable to them. And I find, there's a million scripts out there. And I have found if you start with, I see your home came off the market. Are you still interested in selling? I just don't find that to be the best. It kind of,
maybe not positive.
It kind of generates that little bit of snarkiness, right? And so I present myself more from an empathetic standpoint. I really focus on listening to how they answer the phone. Are they short? Are they frustrated? Like, what does their voice sound like? And I try to respond to that when I do make the phone call. For example, you call and you introduce yourself and they're like, oh my gosh, you're like the 10th person who called. We all know the script is like, yeah, well, I have to work with those people. Yeah, I do have to work with those people. But I say, wow, I can, is it okay if I bring up, like, I'm sensing in your voice, is that frustration or disappointment? Tell me how you're feeling. And sometimes with just really simple listening questions, the information that is shared will answer all the things or majority of the things you need to know. Motivation, they're very comfortable to let you know what worked and didn't work. They talk about feedback. And if you just kind of prompt and meet them where they are emotionally, then they're usually a little bit more open-minded to further the conversation.
Absolutely.
Most of my success is not necessarily setting an appointment with them right away, but say, hey, I'm only going to take 5 minutes of your time, respecting that 5 minutes, and say, hey, we're at that 5-minute mark. Would it be okay if we've had a follow-up call? Just to talk about things a little bit further, maybe answer any questions that you have, hear about our services and how we might be able to get you to the finish line, more meeting your expectations. And rarely do they say no. I mean, I typically, when I can get them on the phone, we definitely have an opportunity to have at least a follow-up call. Now, it doesn't end there. They also don't know what I look like. I don't know what they look like. So as soon as we're off the call, or if I have to leave a message, right, regardless of what it is, I always follow up with a video text right through my phone, directly to them. No links. I mean, I love all the bombs and all that out there, but nobody wants to click on a link, right? That's a little bit iffy, especially in the beginning of a relationship that you're building. So I always just pick up my phone, do a personal text. Hey, Noelle, this is Sandee. We just got off the phone. I wanted to put a face with a name so you knew who was on the other side of the line. That way they're starting to feel this trust and this connection. I'm not a bot. I'm not a VA. I'm not a
safe
robo-caller. Just kind of recap. I'm looking forward to our conversation on Thursday at 10 o'clock. I'll send you a calendar, invitation as a reminder. And then I don't text, like write the whole text. I would just basically say, hi, Noelle, it's Sandee Payne, Design to Sell Real Estate Group. Like, so that they kind of like have to find a time to listen to the video when they have a moment. And it's really good. I mean, those are probably the two things that I feel I do differently that really lead to those next opportunities. I would say, if I had to put numbers to it, maybe an 8% return. I mean, pretty good. Very so I mean, and I don't let up. I have a 30-day follow-up plan from day one.
Tell us about that, because I was going to ask you that when you said the second portion of your calls or following up. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all shiny penny syndrome, right? Like we all want to chase the next thing. So if you're working any type of lead system that's coming in on a daily basis, you make the calls. Tomorrow it's a new set of calls, and you kind of forget, unfortunately. But we all know, those people need time. They're in a not great situation. Maybe they weren't able to make the move they wanted to get closer to family. Maybe they couldn't get the new construction home that they were building. Like, there's so many reasons as to they just need a minute to process. Yeah. So if we go in with this like sales attack of like, I might have a buyer. Can I come see your home? Like, I just like all of
I don't agree
anybody
with that.
I mention, I'm like, that's so cringe. Like, stop doing that.
It's not even honest. So you're starting a relationship off with dishonesty.
Yeah. And it's a little invasive, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they just went through this process, and we don't need to just keep repeating the same thing. So I'm always looking to be a little bit different. So I have custom boxes that I send.
Okay. I'm going to zoom in so we can see. Okay. I like it.
I have one here to kind of demonstrate what it is.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of our logo. It's just cute. Open this box and make calls.
Oh, that's so cute.
I mean, it's up to you now. And then, it's just kind of, I'm really big on tactical things, like all the senses, right? Uh-huh. So they heard my voice. They've seen my face. Now they're getting a gift, right? I like to kind of consider it as a gift.
Yeah.
So they're kind of forced to touch and experience through all the sensories, not just have constantly being bombarded with a phone call. And so we have like a little golf towel. It just says, I don't sweat, I sparkle. And then we have, of course, a letter, an expired letter that goes, hold on, let me this in the box here. So of course we have a letter, business card, basic, I also have a brochure that I created. It's called My Home Didn't Sell Now. You're like, what now? And it just kind of goes through maybe our approach, the different phases, some of just the listing strategy that we utilize.
I love that. Yeah. That's so awesome. That is probably the most creative thing I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you. And then we have like a community passport. So I have like this whole little passport, like all the best places to like eat and shop. It's just a little community resource. So I like to use the box as an opportunity for them to touch things. And everything is different texture. Like this one's kind of that matte soft finish. This one's a bit glossier. So it creates like an experience for them.
Absolutely. No wonder you took 103 listings right away.
And the cool thing is, the next step of this is, if I buy all these things in bulk, so I make a financial commitment, and it minimizes the per piece cost, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise this can get really expensive.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I didn't start here. Like this is something that's evolved over years. Of return and just kind of continuing to pour into this type of system. And then I actually postage these right here, like literally print the label, put them on my coffee table, postman picks them up. The reason I like to do my own postage is that I can actually track the package. So I know when the next touch point on the package is when I know that it was delivered.
Yeah.
So I can go back in and say, okay, they delivered it. So now that prompts the next phone call. If I haven't gotten to them, hey, you may have just received a gift from me, right? And I just kind of present with that. Would love to talk to you about the contents, when you have a chance to look at it. I also have like a postcard campaign that follows throughout. So one a week of a message on a postcard that they also get via email, and they also get a video text from me around the same subject.
Sandee, you're killing it.
So I think,
Are you leaving any business in Central Texas for anyone
else? I hope not. But I think what's neat is like we all know like most people aren't going to transact right away. They're not going to make a decision right away. And so I really focus my campaigns on a little bit of longevity where I kind of know that soft spot when most other agents are going to kind of say like, well, like I'm done with that one, and they kind of move on.
Yeah.
And then I kind of keep that cadence and that consistency, and start adding that value and that real genuine, like I really do care about the situation,
and
let's
you
work
care.
together.
It's not a show. I can tell. And like I'm going to kind of take it into the personality direction. People that probably just are like, I'm done. Don't want to follow up anymore. Probably more the drivers. Personality. Right. And then I'm going to go out and, well, I think you're amiable for sure. But then I feel like you're also expressive when you whipped out the box and everything. I was like,
yes.
Okay, so maybe both.
Yes. So, they haven't had a chance to meet me yet. And so I look at this as an opportunity is let me showcase to you. Let me show you, not just tell you. I think we go, we're going to market your property. We're going to do professional photos. We're going to do, and we just talk all this. But when we can start actually putting things in front of them visually, tactically, they really start to believe you.
What do you say you're going to do? You're going to sell their house, Sandee.
Yeah, even down, and I know this is like a super silly, but even down to like my little paper clip.
Getting in there. Yep. Okay.
I actually got an expired listing because of this paper clip.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Really?
Because I asked people, I say, hey, at what point did you make the decision to call me back, or to get in touch with me? And they said, it was that paper clip. And I said, the paper clip. And he said, it wasn't just a silver paper clip. He said, if
put a lot of thought into the detail. If
you pay attention and you spend this detail and you don't even have the business yet, like I just know that you're going to put this. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. So yeah.
Man, you're killing it. I love it so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Success on people all across the country. And we love getting all the little bits of information. If people are watching this and they want to send you a referral or just have a question maybe or about your Hustle to 100, how can we reach you?
Yeah, so you can text me. That's always the easiest thing to do. Yep. Text me. I only have one phone number. It's 254-383-0623. I'm also on Instagram, Sandee B with a middle initial, Sandee B Payne, and I'm on Facebook as Sandee Payne. So I'm always in my DMs and happy to help whoever. And again, if they want to just like dive right in with all the goodies, they can just go ahead and request to join the Hustle to 100 Facebook group.
I love it. Thank you so much, Sandee.
Yes, my pleasure.
Have a great day.